What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got a couple of weird blue fish things that we need to have a little bit of a look at. So let's take a little bit of a look at them. I should mention the translations here do come from the lovely folks over at DigimonCard.dev. We're getting right into it, and we're going to start off with one that was spoiled just a few moments ago. It is Majiramon? Yeah, let's go for that. What we've got here is a level 5 Digimon, 7 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve, 7,000 power. Nothing particularly special or interesting there. But we've got both an inheritable and a non-inheritable skill. Also phenomenal artwork, but that's nothing new with the Digimon TCG. They are knocking it out of the park artwork-wise. And what we've got here is when you Digivolve, choose one of your opponent's Digimon and discard the top evolution card. Okay. It's cool, don't get me wrong. It is pretty gosh darn cool, but we've seen this a lot. It's a blue deck. It's blue Digimon. This is what blue Digimon do. We can go back to the starter deck, the very first blue cards we ever saw, and this is the kind of thing they were doing. So we had things like Azulongmon, that when you Digivolved, you trash 2 Digivolution cards on the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. And we had stuff like Gabumon, that when you attacked, you trashed a Digivolution card at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. And the Garurumon, that did the same thing. Although Gabumon was level 5 or less, it couldn't actually be a level 6 or 7. So this is cool, we've seen it before. The difference here, and this is actually kind of cool, is that this is trashing from the top rather than the bottom. Sometimes this will mean better skills, but there are plenty of level 3s and 4s with really good inheritable skills, so I don't think we can just say as a blanket thing, oh, trashing from the bottom is going to be better, or trashing from the top is going to be better. It's fine, but you Digivolve up into it, which is what you're probably going to be doing anyway, so you're just getting a free Digivolution source being trashed. I'm cool with it. But when you are attacking, this is the inheritable skill. If your opponent does not have any Digimon with evolution sources, unsuspend or activate this Digimon. Now, I have double checked with the lovely Ensan Gaming just to make sure this is correct, and it is. All of your opponent's Digimon must have no evolution sources in order to unsuspend this Digimon. Now, we've seen a lot of in the past if your opponent has any Digimon. So, again, let's just keep going back to the starter deck. Over in the starter deck, we've got Matashita, and that lets you gain a memory at the beginning of your turn if your opponent has any Digimon that have no Digivolution sources. Here it's got to be all of them. But in that same starter deck, we saw Metal Garurumon. I showed you a winning deck for that not too long ago, and that once per turn unsuspends. But I think the thing we've got to bear in mind here is that we're talking about a level 5 Digimon with an inheritable skill. So Metal Garurumon was essentially this plus whatever inheritable skills you could go and get. Whereas this can just be put under any level 6 blue or level 7 that can Digivolve from blue, and all of a sudden be unsuspending. You can use this to unsuspend Omnimon. Now, you've still got to get rid of all the evolution sources, etc. It's not that easy, but it's doable, ladies and gentlemen. It is doable. And that, for me, is kind of awesome. And, of course, you could combine this with Metal Garurumon, and then you're unsuspending twice during your turn, which sounds like fun. I'm giving this 4 Wassies. Essentially, great skill, but the fact that all of your opponent's Digimon must have no evolution cards does make it slightly awkward. But we have a level 6 we need to talk about here as well. It is Azulongmon. Let's go for that. And what we've got here is a 13 cost to play normally, 5 cost to Digivolve, 13,000 power, which is more expensive than average to play, more expensive than average to Digivolve, and more expensive than average in terms of power. We expect 11-3-11, we've got 13-5-13, so something's going on here. When you Digivolve, you trash 1 evolution source from the bottom of all of your opponent's Digimon. And this is powerful. This is going to get you to your opponent's Digimon having no evolution cards, etc. pretty quickly. And then, for each of your opponent's Digimon that does not have any evolution sources, gain 1 memory. Oh. So yeah, fine, it's a 5 cost to Digivolve, but it's not really a 5 cost to Digivolve. It is, in fact, anything from a 5 cost to Digivolve down to a 0 cost to Digivolve, and actually, it could be more. Because it does not say, for each of your opponent's Digimon that does not have an evolution source, reduce the cost of evolution by 1. It says, for each of your opponent's Digimon that does not have an evolution source, gain 1 memory. And that is very different. It means if your opponent has 8 Digimon with no Digivolution sources, I mean, if they've got 8 Digimon out, that's kind of worrying for your security. But if they do, you gain 8 memory. So you pay 5 to Digivolve, you gain 8, and you actually end up with 3 more memory than you had before you Digivolved. Now, look, this isn't actually going to happen very often, all right? I think that's fair to say, but it remains a possibility, and that's kind of cool. And this actually makes me look at Howling Crusher again. Now, Howling Crusher is a 7-cost option card, right? It's pretty expensive. But it trashes all Digivolution cards under all of your opponent's Digimon. Now, you might not have 7 memory to actually pay this. That is an issue. But if you do, you can potentially play this and then go absolutely nuts with this particular card. Oh yeah, and there's another skill here, which says that on your turn, for each of your opponent's Digimon that does not have an evolution source, security attack +1. Which is great! Because now we need to actually go and combine it with the Digimon we just saw, that Majiramon. Because let's say, for argument's sake, your opponent has 2 Digimon with no Digivolution sources. Bearing in mind, when you Digivolve into Majiramon, you get to discard an evolution source from one of them, and when you Digivolve into Azulongmon, you get to discard an evolution source from all of them, and it's a blue deck. There are a million other cards that can do this. But let's say your opponent has 2 Digimon, neither of which have any evolution sources. And then we got decks, of course, like Rookie Rush that generally only play rookies, and Megazoo, which generally only play megas, and you see where we're going with this. Well, now I Digivolve up, and I pay 5, but I get 2 straight back, which is kind of cool. And then I attack, but my opponent's got 2 Digimon with no evolution cards, so that's security attack +2. So I'm going after 3 security cards. But now, all of my opponent's Digimon have no evolution sources, so the inheritable skill kicks in, I get activated, I attack again, but I've still got security attack +2, so I'm taking out all of their security cards in one go. Bearing in mind here, you got 13,000 power, which is more power than your average Digimon. Yeah. So you're probably, not guaranteed, but you're probably going to survive hitting into the security. And you can legitimately take out all of your opponent's security cards in one go. All it takes is your opponent having 2 Digimon out and them having no evolution cards. And like I say, it's blue. There are plenty of ways to deal with them, including these 2 Digimon. And now all of a sudden, you are taking out essentially all their cards, all the security cards, in a single attack. I cannot be the only one that thinks this sounds a little bit over the top nuts good. It's fun. Now, it can go wrong, because if your opponent just keeps Digivolving up, all they need to do is keep 1 Digivolution card on each of their Digimon, and that's going to go a little bit wrong. But there are some decks that aren't going to be able to do that, and there are going to be some games where every deck is just not able to do that, and you can take advantage of all the tricks that blue has to get rid of evolution sources. I think this is a 5 WOSY card. I mean, it's a new super rare, and it's big and powerful and all of that, but when you combine the extra security attack and making yourself active, I think we've got an absolute winner here. I feel pretty comfortable calling this a 5 WOSY card. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.